Hello and welcome. This is Atul Wadkar, your instructor. In the last session, we have discussed about the operators in Python. We have talked about arithmetic operators, assignment operators, logical operators, even the relational operators, even bitwise operators, and so on. And we have said that the operators are used to perform some operation on the data. And after performing operation on the data, we extract the meaningful information from that data. Now, how the operators can be used to extract some information from the data, that we are going to discuss in today's session. Up till now, we haven't discussed writing small codes in Python. We have discussed about the variables in Python. We have declared some variables. We have talked about the data types in Python, and we have assigned some types to particular variable. Again, we have discussed how the operators are going to perform operation on data, but how it's going to extract some meaningful information from the data, that we haven't discussed. And also we haven't talked about how we can write a simple Python codes to solve some day-to-day life problem. So here are some examples that we are going to discuss today. Firstly, we'll be talking about basic calculator, that we'll be having some addition, subtraction, multiplication and division on two different numbers, and that program we are going to create in Python. Also, we'll try to find out the percentage score of a student if the 5 subject marks are given as input from the keyboard. Also, we'll try to find out the area of a circle or the rectangle, and this will be useful in finding the area of a cricket ground or any other football ground if the rectangular football ground is there. We also will discuss about, we'll take a particular example where we'll be having distance between two cities as input, and again the speed between of travel, that also be the input from the keyboard. And if these two parameters are known to us, we'll calculate the time required to reach a particular destination. For example, you are traveling from Pune to Mumbai, and you know the speed of your car. Also, you are aware about the distance between these 2 points, so we'll be able to find out the time required to reach that destination. Also, we'll do some analysis for cricket match. We'll calculate the required run rate to win a particular match in cricket. So that also we are going to implement in Python. And at the last, we'll implement a program in order to find out the number of tiles required in order to complete a flooring work for an apartment. So we'll be knowing the carpet area of our apartment. We will just take a rectangular room only. We will not be considering the entire room. So we'll be considering only the a single room. We'll take the dimensions of that room, and again we'll take the dimensions of our tile, and we'll try to find out the number of tiles required in order to complete the flooring work of that particular room. So without wasting any time, let's start with the actual programming in Python. So very first example that we are going to discuss is the calculator. After that, the percentage score we are going to discuss. After that, the area of rectangle and circle we are going to calculate, and the time required to reach a particular destination, that will be our next program, and the run rate will to complete the flooring work. So these 6 programs we are going to discuss today. So I'll open the Python IDLE. So I'll type IDLE in Windows search bar, so that will open the IDLE or Python shell. So here we go, here we have, but we are not going to perform any actions here. In last lecture we were doing operations in Python shell, but now I'm not interested to write anything here. So instead I'll take a new file, and here I'm going to write something. So I will be having the very first program. It's going to be a calculator. So we're going to implement a small calculator using Python. So for that, I'll be having number 1 equals to, let's say, 10. Number 2 equals to, let's say, 20. So this is how I'll write without any semicolon. And then the first thing that I can do is addition equals to, add equals to, or simply I'll write ABCD, so that will be a simple one. num1 plus num2. Okay, so here I missed the num1. plus num2, b equals to similarly num1 minus num2. So I'll be doing all the arithmetic operations. Num1 into num2 and d equals to num1 divided by num2. Okay, so I have taken two different numbers, the number 1 and number 2, and I'm going to perform these operations in Python, and at the end I'm going to print the result. So similar, I can simply write a comma b comma c comma d comma, okay, so all fours can be printed in a single line like this. So initially I would like have to save this program, so I'll save it by some name. So I'll give just a test as a name. Okay, so now I'm not giving any specific name to it, I'm just giving test.py because I'm going to write the different programs in this only. So this is basic calculator program. So here it will accept two different numbers and it's going to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication and division on such numbers. Now after running this program, I'll be getting the addition, subtraction, multiplication and division as a result. So initially we'll do this simple thing and after that we'll try to modify this program. So once I run this from run, I can hit this run model. So here we go, the result. So this is 30 minus 10, 200 and 0.5. Now 30 is the addition of two numbers, minus 10 is the subtraction, 10 minus 20, 200 is the multiplication and 0.5 is the division of 10 divided by 20. It's the result of it. Now as you know, in order to make it more user friendly, this data must be taken from the user. So instead of taking the fixed values or hard-coded values, I can use the input function in Python, and here I can write enter the first number. So just enter the first number, and instead of writing 20, here I can write input enter the second number. So two numbers I'm asking or requesting from the user, and I'm going to perform these operations on these particular numbers. Now when I'll run this program, there is a small error or small problem in the program, so which will not be highlighted here, but when I'll run this program and try to get some result, I'll get some problem. Okay, so let's check it. So I can run this by either clicking here or by clicking F5. So I click F5 and it is asking the first number. So I enter here 10 and hit enter. Now it is asking for the second number, so I enter 5 and hit enter. So as you can see here, it is showing the unsupported operand for this particular operation. So that's the error that I want to highlight here. So this is going to be error in actually performing these operations. So basically the input function is going to take a string as a data that will always assume whatever data you enter from the keyboard as a string, and we'll try to perform some operations considering that variable as a string. But this thing is not possible on the string kind of data, so that's why there is a problem. So we can rectify this issue by typecasting. So instead of just taking input enter the first number, I'll change the type of it to int. So this we have learned when we were discussing the data types in Python. So int input enter a number, so that will change the type of or data type of string to integer. So now this is the string thing, which will be the input function is going to return a string that will be converted to integer, and that will be assigned to num1. And if in this case I try to run this program, now again it's asking the first number, so it is 20. Second number I enter 10, and here we go, we got the correct result 30, 10, 200 and 2.0. okay, now still I'm not getting the readable result here. Okay, so 30, 10, 200 and 2.0, it's okay, the answer is correct, but what exactly the 30 is or 10 is or 200 is, or even what is the 2.0 is not very clear. So let's do that. So here I'll write the addition equals to, and then comma a, and after that I can write the subtraction equals to this comma b, and after that I can write the multiplication equals to comma c, and I can write division equals to comma d, this kind of thing. So here now this is going to make our program more readable, and in upcoming all the programs will be using this kind of syntax only. So let's run this code by the F5 key, and here again I'm going to enter 20 and the 10, the same thing, but this time the result will be like this. Addition equal to like this, addition equal to 30, subtraction equal to 10, multiplication equal to 200, and division equal to 2.0. So it's very basic calculated. On single click you can calculate the addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of any two numbers which you are going to enter from the keyboard. So that is the advantage of using this Python, or this is how we can make a small calculator using Python. So now let's move towards our second program. So in the second program we are going to find out the percentage score of a student if the 5 subject marks are input from the keyboard. So this is the subject 1. I create a variable, and of course I'll be using int input because I'll not take that risk that after input function I'll be getting string, and that can be converted to an integer value by using int function. So I write here enter the marks of subject 1, the first subject. Okay, and the same thing I'm going to repeat for 5 number of times, but this time the variables will be different, and this is the fourth and this is the final. Okay, so instead of subject 1 I'll take a different variable, subject 2, this is subject 3, this is subject 4, and this is subject 5. So the we are already familiar with the variables and the names. You can give any name to the variable, but it has to be the relevant name, and secondly you have to follow some rules in order to define the variable name. So we have discussed those rules. So it cannot start with the numeric value or number. It can contain some numbers, it's okay, but it will not start with any number. It will always start with alphabet or underscore character. Secondly, there should not be any space inside the variable name. It should be like this only, or if you want to give some space you can put an underscore character. And third rule is no special symbol other than underscore is allowed. For example, this kind of thing is not allowed inside the variable name or anywhere in the variable name. So these few rules you are going to follow in order to create the variable name. Otherwise these are user defined. User can give any names to the variable. Secondly, I am using the input function so that I can take data from the user. And secondly, as we know that the input function always returns the data in string format that must be converted to the integer. That's why I'm using this int function over here. Now I need to calculate the total marks. So I just write total is equals to this subject 1 plus subject 2 plus subject 3 plus subject 4 plus subject 5, like this. And the percentage score I can calculate percentage is equal to total divided by 5, and at the end I can print this percentage equals to comma this percentage. Now this is a very simple thing that I have written over here. Now this is the marks of that particular student. Now this is all subject, and this is summation of all the subjects. And after calculating this summation, in order to calculate the percentage score, I just going to divide that with 5. this will be a 5 subject average, and that will be a percentage score. If you want to put a percentage symbol, then you can write like this also. So this will be a percentage equal to this value and some percentage. Now this, the subject 1, subject 2, these is the integer values. Again, the total will be integer because you are just doing the addition of 5 subjects, and after that we are calculating the percentage score. Now here it can be a floating point number, so finally the percentage score will be a floating point number. So let's check this by running this code. So once I run this code, so it will ask the marks for subject 1. So I enter 65, then 78, then let's say 47, 92, and oh, I have made some mistake that I need to correct on. Okay, so I'll close this. There is some mistake in the, actually this is not going to bother us in final answer, but it should be correct. So I kill this process, and instead of subject 1, so it's 2, it should be 3, it should be 4, it should be 5. Keep in mind, though I have not written the exact subject name here, this is not going to affect our final answer. Even if you write anything inside this, it's not going to be the problem. But as we have the correct variables here, this is just string. This is again user defined. You can write anything inside this. So even if you write all subject 111, and here we have taken different variables, there will be no problem with our output. But I have just terminated the execution of this, and again I'm going to rerun this. So now it will ask for subject 1, and I'm going to enter the marks like this. Let's say different marks you can enter, and for this I enter 87, and once I hit enter, here I got the percentage score. So this is 68.0%. This is the answer. Okay, so this is how we can calculate the percentage score from the available raw data. Now here we have, this is our raw data, and we process that raw data using some mathematical operations, or using some different operators in Python. And after performing some operation on this data, I was able to calculate the percentage score. Now let's talk about our new example, that in this we are going to find out the area of circle. So in order to find out the area of circle, as you know, you must have the radius. So here we'll take a radius as the input, or simply you can write r as the input from the user. Again I'm going to take int input, and here we'll write enter the radius of circle. Okay, so here I should write one more bracket in order to close that, and the area is equals to the pi. Now the pi r square is the formula in order to find out the area of circle. The formula is pi into r square. Okay, this is the formula. So this I have to implement in Python. So as you know, the pi we can write like 3.14 is the value of pi into r like this, r square. This is how we can implement. This is one option. Otherwise, what we can do, this is into r and double star. As you know, this is the exponential operator, and 2. Okay, this is how you can write r double star 2. So this is the exponential operator in Python. So if I enter 1 as a radius of this circle, then the value should be 3.14 only, area. So here we can print area of circle equals to comma this area variable, and again I can close this like this. So now I can find out the area of this circle using this thing. So now this is r square. You can write like this, r into r, or r to the power 2. Now I'll run this code and we'll test it. Now once I run this, it is asking for the area. So if I enter 1 as a radius of this circle, now it will give us 3.14, which is the correct answer. If I enter 2 then its area is 12.56. So it's according to that. Now one more thing, now I am writing here 3.14 for the pi, but as we know the pi is the constant value, so can we write something for that? So in Python, if you want to write a predefined pi constant, then you have to import a library in Python. Import math. This is the math library. Now what is this? What is this thing? What I am doing, I am importing this package or library in Python. Now what is package or library in Python? Now the package is nothing but the bunch of functions or bunch of code which is already written for us. So now somebody has already written code for this math, or inside the math package you may find the number of codes available or ready-made codes, and I simply have to call such codes. Now in order to define pi, simply you have to write, instead of 3.14, write math dot pi. This is also okay. Now the math dot pi is also equal to 3.14. Now if I run this, now it will ask the radius. So if I enter 1, then this is the area of circle, and this time it has taken the longer value of pi, so that's why it is 3.14. So initially we have taken 3.14 only, but this time it has taken the actual value of pi, and this is how the area of circle is calculated. Now we'll calculate the area of the rectangle and also the perimeter of the rectangle. So here again, in order to calculate the area of rectangle, we need to have length. So L equal to int input. Here we'll say enter the length of rectangle. Okay, this is how I'll write, and again I need to have width of the rectangle 8, and here I'll write width as a W and enter the width of rectangle. And now you know the area of rectangle is nothing but the length into width, so area is equals to length into width, this simple thing, and the perimeter equals to 2L plus 2W or 2B. This is the formula. So in order to implement this, I simply have to write star twice of length, or simply here like this. Or this is the one option how you can write this, or you can take this to common and you can write L plus W. So this is mathematical formula. Oh, it's capital, it should be small. L plus W. This is the formula, but this is actual formula, but here in order to implement in Python you should write here star. Okay, so 2 star L plus W. So this is how the perimeter will be calculated, and here you can print it. So print area equals to comma this area, comma, then you can write the perimeter equals to comma this thing, perimeter. Okay, now you can simply save this program by Ctrl S, and you can run this program. So once I run this program by F5, it will ask the length of rectangle. So let's say my rectangle's length is 10 and the width of rectangle is 5, for example. Then the area is 50, as 10 into 5 is 50, and the perimeter is 30, that is twice of this 10 plus 5 is 15 into 2, which is the perimeter of your rectangle. So this is how you can calculate the area of rectangle, area of perimeter. You can calculate the volume of your tank, and you can find out the amount of water that can be stored inside the cubical tank, or even the cylindrical tank. Even you can find out the amount of petrol that is inside your full tank, or if you know the mileage of your vehicle, by knowing the amount of petrol inside your full tank, you can calculate how far your car can move or your bike can go with that available petrol. So these things can be possible using such kind of example. So we are taking raw data and processing that data, and after processing that data we are extracting some meaningful information from the data. Now one more example we'll discuss here. For example, you want to travel from one city to another city, and you know the distance between these two cities. So here I will take int. I want to take from the user input, enter the distance. Okay, optionally you can also add some comments in your programs, but you can add the comment. And I know the speed of my car, so input, I can write here, enter the speed of car, right? So this is how I can take the distance, and I know that t is equals to distance divided by speed. This is the formula, because distance is equal to velocity into time, and in order to calculate time it should be distance divided by speed. So this is how I can calculate the time required, and then I can print here, print time required is equals to comma this t. Okay, so this is how I can calculate the required time, and if this distance is in kilometers, so I'll ask user to enter in kilometers only, and I'll ask user to enter in kilometer per hour only. So in that case I can calculate the time required to reach a certain point, and this time will be in hours. So here I'll write this hours. Okay, like this I can modify the print statement so that my code will become more readable. So this is a very simple program, and I'll run this code now. So it is asking enter the distance in kilometers, so I enter 300 is my distance, speed is 60 km per hour, and here we go, the time required is 5.0 hours to reach that destination. So this is how I can even calculate the required time to reach a particular destination if I know the speed of my car and the distance between 2 points. For example, if I am traveling from Pune to Mumbai, if I know the distance and if I know the speed of my car, I can estimate the time required to reach that destination. Now let's move towards our next example. Now consider a cricket match is happening, and the first team has given some target to the second team. So there is a one-day international 50-over game, and the target is, let's say, 350 runs. This is you have to achieve, or the second team has to complete this. So let's say the cricket match is happening between India and Pakistan. When the Pakistan batted first and they scored 349. Now in order to win this game, India needs 350 runs to win this game. So the Pakistan scored 349 in 50 overs, and India needs 350 runs to win this game. Now we'll have to calculate the required run rate, so runs per over that must be made in order to win this game. So firstly I'll take the target. Okay, so this time I'm not going to take a hard code, the target is 350. Instead I'll ask the user. So the target is int input, enter the target score, so the score or the target which you have to achieve. Now secondly, I'm not going to restrict it again to the 50 overs. I'll also take that input from the user. So I'll ask user int input, enter the number of overs. So again we'll take this from the user, so I'm not restricting it to 50 overs. So this is more general. So we know the target and we know the number of overs, so I need to calculate the run rate. So the run rate I'll mark as RR or triple R. Generally this is the notation used in cricket also. Required run rate. So as you know, it should be target divided by the number of overs you have. This will be the required run rate, and simply we can print it out. Print required run rate to win the match is equals to comma triple R, required run rate. So this is how the required run rate can be calculated, and that can be used to predict, or that can be used by other team in order to they can maintain their run rate with this value, and this is how they can win this game. So this is very much important in cricket also, as you know. So if I run this and if I enter, let's say I want to chase this target 350 and I have 50 overs with me. So this is the run rate. Required run rate to win the match is 7.0 runs per over. Okay, so this is the run rate that I have to. Okay, so here is a typing mistake or typing error, required. Okay, so this is how I can calculate the required run rate in order to win the cricket match. Now we'll discuss one more example, our last example. Consider you have a room. You are constructing a room, and you know the dimensions of that room, and you need to find out the number of tiles required in order to have a flooring of your room. So initially what we can do, we can take the length of room, length underscore room. So this is how I'll make one variable. Then I should be another variable like width underscore room, and then I should have L underscore tile. I should know the length of tile, and then I should know the width of tile. And if I know the length of tile and width of tile, I can calculate the area of tile. And secondly, if I know the length and width of my room, then I can calculate the area of my room. So here I'll take int input, enter the length of room. So I'm asking user to enter the length of room, and here again I'll ask int input, enter the width of room. Okay, so and here I'll ask the user int input, enter the length of tile. So here I can come to know the length of tile, and here I must know the int input, enter the width of tile. Okay, so here I can calculate the width of tile, and then I need to calculate area of room. So it will be L room, as this is going to be a rectangular room, into W underscore room. This is my area of my room. Then I must know the area of tile, of single tile. This is for the single tile. L underscore tile into W underscore tile. So here you can take any variables, and the names of variables are up to you. Only thing is that you have to follow the certain rules that we have already discussed in order to assign the variable names. So I have taken multiple variables like L room, W room, these are variables. L tile, W tile, this is again a variable. Area room, area tile, again we are having these variables. So the number of tiles, so I can write number, or simply I just tiles equals to, what will be the formula for this? The simple formula will be area of room divided by area of tile. Okay, so if you know the area of room, which will be divided by area of tile, and this is how you can calculate the number of tiles required. Okay, and then you can print this answer. Print the number of tiles required equals to this thing, tiles, and you can save this program. Now I'll run this program using F5 key. So once I click the F5, it will ask me the area of room. So let's say my area of room, I'll take all dimensions in terms of feet only. So let's say my area of room is 20, or length of my room is 20 feet. The width of my room is also 20 feet. So I'm having a room with 20 feet by 20 feet. Then it is asking the length of tile. So generally the length of tile is 2 feet. It's very much commonly used length of tile, and the width of tile is also 2 feet. So the area of my entire room is 400 square feet, and the area of my tile is 4 square feet. So single tiles area is 4 square feet, and the area of my room will be 400 square feet, because this 220 into 20, that will be 400. So 400 square feet, and this is 4 square feet. So the number of tiles will be 400 divided by 4. So it should be 100 number of tiles that will be required in order to complete the flooring work of your room. So here we go, the number of tiles required, it's exactly equal to 100.0. So 100 number of tiles are required in order to complete the flooring work of your room. So this is how we can extract some meaningful information from the available data with us. So we initially will have some raw data. So we started with the basic syntax of Python. Then we talked about the variables in Python. We understood that the variables are nothing but the containers used to store some data or information. Then we understood the different operators that can be used to perform operation on that data, and after performing operation on the data, we can extract some meaningful information from it. For example, I am knowing this length and width of my room, and again I am knowing the length and width of my tile, the number of tiles required. So 100 number of tiles I should purchase in order to have the flooring work of my room. So this is how I can extract some meaningful information from the available data. Now in upcoming lectures we'll start with some decision control statements, looping structures. So we'll take this information, so whatever information we have extracted from our raw data, we can take judgments or decisions based on this raw data in upcoming few lectures using if statements, decision control statements, and looping structures. So stay connected with me, and thanks for watching.